very ironic that when I first had the problem with Benson, that a gentleman that owned a house in Baton Rouge that I lived in a bazillion years ago, who was an attorney, was referred to me by another attorney by the name of Jim Wayne in Baton Rouge. And so I sent the paperwork that was these huge 1,100 pages from the Olympiacos case that I gave to Bob Booth, that are as big as Shreveport telephone books, and there's 2 of them. I sent it to St. Francisville to a guy whose name escapes me, but I have it in my Gmail account. And I'll be damned if he didn't die. He went in for a small procedure, and it's like the Olympiacos curse. He's like, myself and my paralegal are extremely efficient. Just go ahead and ship me the documents, and I'll look at them when I get out of the hospital. It's no big deal. I'm going in for a small procedure. And I called him the next week when he told me to call him, and his paralegal answered the phone, and he had died. Could you read this next one?
September 15th, 2011, from you to me. Should Todd Benson be permanently disbarred from his actions from the Olympiacos case, and I win the case in Louisiana State District Court, I agree Carla Stanford shall be paid a 10% bonus from my gross proceeds of the case, 5% for bar reinstatement of 4 years or less.
I guess that's me putting a bounty on an attorney that's malpracticed me or committed fraud against me, in my recollection.
I don't understand what
Huh?
that. I don't understand
Let me
what
go
that last
back.
part meant.
Pardon me?
I don't understand what that last part meant.
Which part? The
Should-
5%?
Should Todd Benson be permanently disbarred from his actions from the Olympiacos case, and I win the case in Louisiana State District Court?
I think I'm saying to
Is
you
that a
it-
question?
no, that's a statement that if he's disbarred, I would pay you extra money.
I agree Carla Stanford shall be paid a 10% bonus from my gross proceeds.
He didn't
of
just
the
malpractice
case.
me, he committed fraud.
5% for bar reinstatement of 4 years or less. Oh, you're saying that if Todd Benson gets disbarred, I get 10% of whatever you get, and I get
That'll cover-
5% if he is just suspended for 4 years or
Right.
less.
Or less.
Gary Ebert, am willing to sign. So this is you asking me to do something?
That was us propagating these cases forward.
Okay.
That was during the period of time that we were looking for the relationship with Joey Hendricks or a lawyer that you were going to recommend. And,
So you were going to give me like a referral fee?
pardon me?
You were going to give me like a referral
Yeah,
fee?
that's what you asked for. And I think we're coming to an email that goes a little bit more into that. I can't remember exactly. Actually didn't. Let's see. Okay, could you read the next one with the time and the date?
It's from me to you, October 5th, 11, and it's got a motion to continue trial attached, and it says, please email this to Bob and call him and let him know you got it. I had told him it would probably be tomorrow before I could do it. Thanks.
Okay. You remember the judge on that case?
What case?
The case
Benson?
against Benson in the first district
No.
was Jeanette Garrett.
Thanks, Miss Carla. I called. He did not answer.
I don't know why you sent me this one. I really don't understand this next one.
Chafin, opposition to motion. This is one where our client went to the motion for summary judgment hearing. As you can see from the service information, handed this to the opposing counsel, and the judge, as soon as the case was called, she won. If you were going to a summary judgment hearing, you probably asked me for how to do an opposition, and I sent you one that I'd done in somebody else. So it looks like. If somebody files a motion for summary judgment
Mhm.
against you, you can file an opposition.
Correct.
That doesn't look like I typed it though, because the top up there.
Yeah, it's not justified, is it?
Mm-mm, not totally, and this is off.
But
here.
you emailed it to me, I don't know where you got it.
Well, emailing it might have done that.
Do you know Barbara Chafin?
Mm-hmm,
Pardon?
yes.
And how do you know her?
She used to work at a bank that I banked at.
And would you have made this for her?
I might have typed it for you.
And
Seems like she had a problem with the collection company. It was trying to collect for a credit card, and she called me about it.
you have a little expertise with that, don't you?
Yeah.
Who sued you? I remember reading somebody sued you and you represented yourself in the case, and it went to the appeals court.
Mhm.
Who was that?
I don't remember. It's probably public record though. I mean, I know it's public record. I can look on the line and see.
I'm just roughly,
I had a dispute with the credit card company. There were a lot of charges that weren't mine, and I fought it and won.
okay. And so, based on your experience with that, you helped your friend or whoever.
Probably.
Was this done for remuneration?
I don't think so. I don't remember. I think she died about 2 years ago. I heard she died. I don't know.
Okay.
So I sent you showing how to do an opposition is what that looks like. Just the form for opposition to a
Mhm.
summary judgment motion.
Where would those forms have come from? Do you have a
From
forms disc from like Westlaw or?
I haven't had one of those since I worked for Jared Franklin. He used to buy those, but I just had my own forms that I'd created and made and used and collected. And
Mm-hmm.
when I'd get stuff sent to the hospital, I'd just stick them in a file and have forms.
Okay. Have you maintained that?
No. I haven't done anything since I left LSU.
Yeah, but everybody sticks something somewhere. After my parents passed, we had a reel-to-reel tape recorder that was almost as old as I was that we had to get rid of. Comes that day that stuff's got to go. Okay, we can skip this one.
Here. That's
Let's
where
see.
you can get the
Oh, wait a minute.
layout from it. Sorry, I don't
Oh, I
have time
see.
to help you
Yeah.
today. So
Let me look at this one.
that's another one for credit cards. That was an arbitration thing. We won that one too.
It's very interesting because they quote Christopher Boyko, who also ruled in the Olympiacos case for Tom McLaughlin. It's very interesting.
Let me see that quote.
Yeah.
I mean, let me see.
He's the judge that became known as the "Show Me the Note" judge.
Oh, he's quoted in all the
Yeah.
credit card stuff. Yeah, credit card and mortgage.
When
disputes.
Olympiacos did screwed around with the marshal and caused me the problems in San Antonio, their general manager had to fly to Ohio to sit for a 30B6 deposition. That is probably one of the reasons I'm having the problems that I'm having today, because Todd Benson told me that the witness was not sworn at a 30B6 hearing, and that's actually a deposition. Which for some reason I didn't seem to know that in 2009 and 2010. I just saw 60B4 because Olympiacos' lawyers sent out a letter saying that I could not have an information subpoena in Texas for Angelopoulos, who was the owner of Olympiacos, because his general manager appeared in front of Christopher A. Boyko, the show me the note judge in Ohio, and swore that they had no assets in the United States. Funny thing about that is about 10 or 15 days after she sent me the letter, I seized $220,000 in the Southern District of New York without an attorney helping me. And Todd, pardon me?
Is there any way for you to put this stuff on the record without me sitting here all day? I mean, are you asking me a question about it?
There's a
or-
question coming.
Okay. Can we take a bathroom break?
Yes, ma'am,
Oh, thank
absolutely.
you. Where's the restroom, please?
Right there.
I am not trying to be ugly, but it's hard for me to sit this long.
I am more
And
than happy
I'm
to
just
s-
listening to
As
you.
soon, if you tell me you want a break, we'll break whenever you
Okay.
want. Hmm?
And I'm gonna go rub my
Not you, I'm joking.
Sorry about my coughing. I'm saying it's just decided to hit me today.
You look vaguely familiar. Can't place the face.
What time is the barbecue supposed to be here?
Huh?
What time is the barbecue supposed to be here?
The what?
The barbecue.
See my lunch, Michelle. I'll be bringing barbecue in.
I didn't know what we were gonna do yet. I didn't see Michelle the whole time. Yeah, I know, it's okay. There's not that many emails. I would be happy, whenever you wanna stop, all you have to do is tell me. If you wanna stop and walk around, you wanna just get up and move, that's fine,
Okay.
please.
I'm gonna call my husband right quick if that's all right.
Sure. She's gonna need a few minutes, and I
He's
think it's a good
texting
time,
me.
so.
If I'm okay. It's the first time I've driven by myself. Hey, babe. I got your text. Yeah, I'm alright. Oh, yeah. I'm probably gonna be here most of the day, it looks like. I don't know. Alright. No. think we're ready to start back up. I will. Okay.
I'm gonna take a couple of minutes to compose some things. Is there anything we can do to make you more comfortable?
Mm-mm. No, thanks.
Snack on his bar, but
Okay. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Could you please read the next, we'll call it interaction, because there's an email. Start at the bottom and read that one.
It's from
First.
you to me,
Right.
October the 11th, 2011 at 12:16.
Okay.
You said, I need to get, you said, this one down here or there?
Yeah, start at the bottom and then, because
From
it's me
me-
writing you and then you responding.
From me to you, October the 11th at 12:10. Yeah, it was just for you to give you some idea of what he'd be looking for. And then from you to me.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me go down, I'll tell you what, before you go there, let's go all the way down. It says, let's see, let's go in. Okay, let's start at the very, it's, it's a Gmail thread.
Okay.
So,
So from me to you on October the 11th at 12:02, here's one Bob did some time ago. And
there was an attachment on that, we'll come back to that.
I don't see an attachment, I see a reference to crow.neutral.motion.
I think there was an attachment.
I said, here's one Bob did, so there
Yeah.
probably was. And
See,
then from,
I'm gonna go down
Yeah.
real quick and show it to you. Here it is,
yeah.
right there, so we'll come back to that.
So that's a motion for a new trial that Bob
Right.
had done. You must have asked me for a form for that. And you said, okay, I need to get another lawyer involved so I can work and I'll still pay Bob. Go ahead and call Joey. And I said, I agree, I'm on it.
I think that would be during the period of time that we had a discussion where you start to question what's going on with Bob's health, and that was when you alluded to me, because I did not know how serious his underlying health problems were, because I didn't know him that well at the time. that he would have a hard time continuing. But he put in a tremendous amount of work going through those 1,100 pages to basically come up with those 3 pages to show me what Benson had done and where my litigation had taken a massive change in direction in the Olympiacos, the underlying case. So anyway, it says here that we start talking about. I don't know if this is Joey Canatella or Joey Hendricks, because I do remember distinctly you telling me at first you were going to contact Joey Canatella, and then right after that you told me that he wasn't interested and that Joey Hendricks would be interested. Do you remember this?
I remember, I know, this is not from memory, it's just me telling you something. Joey Canatella doesn't take a lot of new clients. He was in the hospital for over a year, so he just kind of is coasting now. I
Now, when
would
you
have
say-
called
excuse me.
him to ask him who,
Okay.
that's what I would have called him for, to ask him who would be good to handle something like
Okay.
that for you. So that's probably all I called Joey Canatella for.
When you say he's limited on taking new clients, would that have also been the case in 2011?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's... Never mind, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I've never known him to have but about 4 or 5 clients the whole time I've worked with him.
Okay.
He does stuff for people that, like a woman that's living in her car with her kids. I mean, he does stuff for a man that's being evicted from his house wrongfully. He doesn't do stuff for money. He does stuff for being
And
a
why
good
is
Christian.
how does he make a living then?
I don't think he has to worry about money. I don't know. We've never discussed it. But I know that the whole time I was working for Jared Franklin, he was officing there, and he never really had that many clients.
Okay. Does he represent somebody named Thigpen? No.
I don't know. I'm not saying no. I don't know. I've never worked for him.
Okay. Could you read this next one, please?
This is from me to you, and it's dated October the 11th, and it says, about how much do you think the cases are all worth? What about the one in Bossier? What was the amount on that one contract?
Okay. Do you remember the original amount of the Olympiacos judgment?
I don't remember anything.
$910,000. So if there was lawyer fraud involved or collusion between attorneys, whether it be Todd Benson and the lawyers in Texas, or possibility of it being Cook Yancey here involved in some kind of scheme. With your time being a paralegal and understanding what you understand about the law, are you familiar that those damages are tripled for collusion
I
and?
would have to look it up.
Okay.
I know where to find it, but I don't know off the top of my head, no.
They're triple.
I know that if an insurance company deliberately withholds payment, that they get double
There's a
damages.
statute,
Yeah.
right?
I know
Just
there's
like if you
statutes
harvest
about all
somebody's
that.
timber or minerals or something like that, it's triple damages for a period of time. So you asked me that in relation to be able to speak to Joey Hendricks, correct?
Probably.
Okay. That case is prescribed and I didn't do anything with it. So I've got a message that says call me now. You see this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
On October 12, 2011.
Yep. From me to you, call me now.
Mm-hmm.
In the subject line.
And then right after that, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but 2 days later, I go see Joey on Monday at 2:30.
From you to me. You were going to see Joey, not me.
Correct. Yes, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
And I said, great.
Is it fair with that last email exchange, when you look at that, is it abundantly clear that there's no way that I could have formulated pleadings to represent myself without somebody helping me?
That's not abundantly clear,
It's not, okay.
no. What I'm seeing from all this is that you put some stuff together and that you came and asked me to type some, and I probably called Bob and said, how do you word this, or something like that.
Well, Bob started the whole thing back all the
Oh.
way to, you have to understand, there are papers in Benton where Bob, when the execution was done against Gerard Henderson,
This was
Uh,
before he was suspended, obviously.
yes, this particular time
And
was.
see, that I wasn't working with him then, so I don't know
Well, he told me you
anything
were.
about- I might have been typing for him, but I
Typing.
was working at LSU.
No, you were working at LSU, but I
Yeah.
mean, the whole time when he was doing things for me, and he said Carla's gonna do this or Carla's gonna do that, and he brought me to your office one time. Or I went and picked him up at his house and
I guess
drove.
what I'm trying to say is, I type stuff for people back then every day.
Mhm.
I didn't invest myself in it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't.
I need
It was
this, I
kind
need
of like
that.
was a priest, and you can come and tell me stuff, and I'll do it, but I don't retain it because it's record. So if I ever need
Right.
it again, I can go look. So I don't remember a lot of this stuff.
I would phrase that by this way. Let me see if you agree with this. Basically, you have a certain extent of some legal knowledge. You have a set of maybe Louisiana specific to an extent case law and documents that you know that work, and you have experience knowing what goes where and for what reason in the document inventory that you had experience with. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
And I've also had lawyers that just graduated law school come to me and say, okay, I know how to do this, but I don't know how to put it on paper in Bossier Parish or in Caddo Parish.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the forms for the different requirements for the different parishes.
Right. And the way it should be played and the way it should look in the courthouse.
Right.
Okay.
But as far as like what's going to happen or what should happen, I can give you a court record that this is how it happened in somebody else.
Well, I mean, I'll quote you again one time in our interactions that you said if I knew exactly how the judges were going to act every time I'd be a lawyer. I would have studied to be a lawyer, but they're so imprecise, it's maddening. Now, I'm paraphrasing you. Those aren't exactly your words, but basically you're saying about the judges, sometimes
I've
they
had 2 or 3 different lawyers offer to send me to law school. I've never ever had an aspiration to be an attorney. I could have been a long time ago, or I could have
Probably.
gone to school and tried, but I never wanted to do that.
I'm sure
So
that
I don't think